Could robots be a risk to humanity? In this day and age, robots have evolved into commonplace devices that are necessary for practically everyone. They are present in everything from cell phones to household appliances. The computing power of computer processors doubles every year, and improvements in programming have enabled artificial intelligence to learn, a feat that was previously only possible for organic living things. Is it conceivable that robots will one day be able to perform all human tasks or perhaps pose a threat to the human race? When we hear the word robot, the traditional image of an automated electric or electronic machine that resembles a human and is capable of performing very specialized and even difficult jobs instantly comes to mind. But is this perception of robots true? The term robots was originally used in the Czech novel Universal Robots Rozum, where we do not discuss actual robots, but rather enhanced people such as androids or cyborgs who ultimately turn against humanity. Years later, science fiction author Isaac Asimov uses the word robotics for the first time in his book I'm Robot, where he also introduces the well-known 3 principles of robots and discusses for the first time about robots, robotics, and artificial intelligence. In case you forgot, they are as follows. 1. A robot should never injure a person. 2. A robot must abide by human commands, with the exception of those that are in violation of the first law. 3. A robot shall defend its existence inasmuch as this defense does not go against the first or second law. Electro, a gigantic robot that weighed 170 kilograms and had extremely limited mobility, was built by Pittsburgh's Westinghouse Electric Corporation and made its appearance in various science fiction stories around 1960. Electro represented the first transition in history to an automata machine, despite not being a highly useful robot. There is currently agreement among robotics experts that a robot must have at least a fully or partially autonomous computer system in order to be taken into consideration. As you can see, we are already surrounded by robots, but can a robot accomplish everything a person does? About anything around us today may be categorized as a robot, including your smartphone, computer, drone, television, refrigerator, etc. Will robots take our jobs? This time period, in which previously unheard of technologies are emerging, is referred to as the age of the technological revolution by scientists who study how societies develop. Today, we have access to technologies that were unthinkable 100 years ago. We now have access to technology that enables us to communicate with people on the other side of the globe, quickly learn the most recent news, and even carry all of the world's maps on a regular phone. Everything is developing and altering at a never-before-seen pace. Now, robots can carry out the jobs that could only be done by people in an effective manner. Nowadays, robots are starting to replace humans in a number of occupations, including those of supermarket cashiers, factory workers, packers, cooks, car drivers, receptionists, customer service representatives, and road builders, to name a few. If you're wondering if a robot might replace you at work in the near future, you need to consider how simple it would be to automate what you do. It will be more difficult for a robot to replace you in your current position the more difficult your job is to automate. The current state of affairs is not promising. It appears that robots are taking over everything. There are already robots that handle things like Amazon, robots that hoover the home, robot cooks, and even robots that are capable of singing, dancing, jumping, and even putting on a concert. Now a machine performs a task that was previously only possible for a human to do. Soon, it's possible that robots will even take the job of YouTube video producers. You might be watching a video that is nothing more than a robot. However, not all of the news is bad. We must remember that this has happened before. During the Industrial Revolution, many years ago, for the first time in history, machines started to make their own, leaving workers in industries without jobs because the work that 20 workers performed could be completed by a single machine and a worker. Many individuals lost their employment during this time period, but many new jobs also appeared. The issue was that most people weren't trained or prepared for these jobs at the time. If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe to help us out. The opportunities no one will take. According to Forbes figures, 6 new jobs will be created in 2030 for every job that is lost. The issue is that only 20% of individuals will be trained or qualified to perform such occupations. To give you an example, consider that there is currently a need for automobile mechanics, or individuals who fix and maintain cars. This is a job that will continue to exist for the foreseeable future because, as of right now, neither machines nor cars are capable of fixing themselves. The fact that there are more and more electric vehicles is what is changing. As a result, technicians who do not know how to fix electric vehicles have 2 options: change their line of work or learn how to fix electric vehicles. Although there are thousands of mechanical engineers in existence today, the majority are unable to fix an electric vehicle. Therefore, they must undergo training in order to keep their positions. Forget the notion that you only study once in your lifetime if you don't want a robot to take your job. No, that isn't the case anymore. In the past, a person might work a single job for their entire lives and be happy, but today it isn't possible because technology develops so quickly. Having the same employment for longer than 3 years is becoming uncommon for young people. Seniority is no longer developed because things are changing more quickly than ever. We must realize that in order to avoid becoming obsolete, it must be studied constantly throughout one's life. We should not wait for things to change because they are already changing quickly and will continue to do so. Jobs involving genetics are difficult to replace with robots. It is also very difficult for a robot to replace all workers in the health sector. As Joseph Eliaon wrote in his book Robot Prof, the key for robots not to take away our jobs is education. We must strengthen in society those tasks that robots cannot, nor can ever do. Robots cannot perform all programming tasks, all leadership and psychology tasks, or any other tasks. Perhaps one of the best solutions if you don't want a robot to replace your work is to focus on a career in designing, manufacturing, or maintaining robots. As you can see, not everything looks to be awful. It's true that things are changing, and many people dislike change, but it will happen, so you can control the future now. Either you wait for a robot to take your job or you develop skills that are incompatible with robots. Robots are already a part of our daily lives. We can't escape reality. All we can do is learn to live with it. Can robots ruin humanity? The movie Terminator: Salvation hit theaters in 2009. It is where the machine army that would eventually wipe out the human species, led by the artificial intelligence Skynet, first arrives. Can this be done? The truth is that we are unsure. When this topic is raised, the scientific community is split into 2 camps: those who assert that this is simply impossible and those who say that this is feasible and that we should take steps to prevent it from happening. While we are unable to provide you a precise response, we may share our current viewpoint with you. Though technology is developing unnervingly quickly, it appears we have reached our limit. The chips contain the microprocessors that are in charge of doing a computer's calculations. These chips currently only measure a few nanometers. 1 billionth of a meter is equal to 1 nanometer. A human hair is 80,000 nanometers in diameter, and dust mites are approximately 200,000 nanometers long. Therefore, anything smaller than 10 nanometers can only be seen under a strong microscope. However, experts argue that there will come a time when it will be physically impossible to continue placing transistors inside a processor. In fact, manufacturers already face challenges to reduce the size of silicon-based transistors. In 2021, the technology company IBM announced that it had been able to create a functional chip of only 2 nanometers. There is no assurance that such a feat would be accomplished one day. Nonetheless, a computer would need to possess a quantity of memory that is inconceivable to produce with current technology in order for it to even remotely resemble even a little amount of human intelligence. Yet, if we are talking about an AI that poses a threat to humanity, a supercomputer may not be required. All that is required is that we give the AI command over our most lethal arsenal. The future of humanity. Several nations have implemented security measures during the military conflicts that have recently erupted that many of us would consider excessive. Making deadly offensive weapons that do not require human monitoring is one such security approach. As you may have heard, these AIs are designed to respond in the event of a nuclear attack on their land. Currently, it is known that nations like Russia and the United States possess nuclear weapons that do not require human authorization to fire. This means that if, for some reason, the United States or Russia were the targets of a nuclear assault and no one was left alive to defend themselves, this AI would be in charge of doing so, meaning that the conflict would only be between machines. In this case, artificial intelligence could be dangerous if it is used to carry out assaults without being provoked. Knowing that a few machines' ability to make good decisions would determine the fate of humanity rather than people is concerning. Could the future of humans be endangered by robots? Absolutely, but keep in mind that robots are machines and won't do anything unless humans instruct them to. Similar to how a hammer can be used to build a bridge or demolish a family's home, robots can either bring about world peace and comfort, or they can start a nuclear war in which no one wins. It will be up to us to determine whether we want robots to be our savior or our undoing, because they are merely tools.